Before we begin this review, I have a quick announcement. As of a couple weeks ago, I am now officially a member of Team Knight Saturn. I want to thank Jack Skyblue for reaching out to me and giving me the opportunity. So, thank you very much, man. And yeah, the intro you will see here will be on my reviews going forward. And don't worry, there's also a winter variant as well for when we get to that time of the year. But all in good time. Anyways, thanks to Jack Skyblue for giving me the opportunity to be a part of Team Knight Saturn. And I hope you enjoy my review of Disney's Stitch Experiment 626. It's hard to believe it, but Lilo and Stitch is now 20 years old. It only felt like just yesterday when it came out in theaters. I don't remember watching it in theaters because I was young, only 5 years old, when it came out, but I watched it plenty of times on DVD. It remains one of my all-time favorite Disney movies, maybe even in my top 5. Naturally, with the hot new Disney film, it would only make sense that we would get a game based upon it, as the 6th gen was the era of movie-based games galore. Thus, we have Disney's Stitch Experiment 626. Developed by High Voltage Software and co-published by Sony Computer Entertainment and Disney Interactive, this game was released exclusively on the PS2 on June 19, 2002 in North America, 2 days before the movie hit theaters. A European release followed in September 27, 2002, an unspecified 2002 date for Australia, and March 27, 2003 for Japan. How does this game stand up in the grand hierarchy of 6th gen movie-based games? It actually doesn't hold up too badly. The game's plot is actually set before the events of the movie. Dr. Jumba Jukiba showcases Experiment 626, with 626 being the best of them all. He's assigned to collect enough DNA from Grimace so Dr. Jukiba can make the rest of his experiments. You'll fight a rival of Dr. Jukiba's, Dr. Habitrail, Experiment 621, and Captain Gantu himself. Sadly, with encountering Gantu before the film's events, this causes a contradiction. In the opening scene of the film, it's implied that Stitch was shown off for the first time at the trial, and Gantu asks,
"What is that monstrosity?"
But the events here imply that isn't the case. While annoying, it's only a small oversight in the long run. At least the gameplay should still be fine. The game at its core is an action platformer. You'll play as Stitch, going from level to level. You'll clear out bad guys and collect DNA. Blue DNA is worth 1 point, and red DNA is worth 5 points. You'll mainly have a laser gun, and you'll move around the environment to complete the tasks at hand. Sound familiar, or even look familiar from the gameplay footage? Well, this game is basically a precursor to the Ratchet & Clank series. In fact, this game came out several months before Ratchet & Clank. Given we're both under Sony's watch, really makes you think, huh? Nah, I'm sure it was all just a coincidence, though there are quite a few differences between the two games. Here, there's little to no melee attacks, and on top of that, you pretty much have to use the same weapon throughout the game. This game is also less grounded than Ratchet & Clank. What I mean by that is that you have several gadgets to help you advance through some of the game's more tougher platforming parts. You'll have a grapple gun to swing over hazardous material / reaching harder to reach spots, and you'll even use a jetpack at some points in the game. On top of that, this game is more of a collectathon than Ratchet & Clank, as you'll need DNA to open up certain levels. That's probably my main gripe with the game. I don't really like it when progress is handled like this, because if you miss a few pieces, you end up spending more time looking for what you need, reading a guide, or watching a video to find it. That's not the only collectible either. There are also movie reels that you can get from Squid Bots. These are used to buy clips from the movie and other various videos. There are 15 levels across 4 worlds in the game, with 3 boss battles giving plenty to explore, but once you know where to find everything, the game isn't that long. With the game being a platformer, you would expect solid controls to navigate such a game type. This game has good controls, but I wish the grapple gun was a bit easier to get a hold of. At first you might struggle and fail the sections with it, but the game isn't too unforgiving in its difficulty, as there are checkpoints with infinite lives, and it probably won't take you too long to get a grip on it. Other controls work well. You have a pretty good grasp on Stitch, shooting works as it should, and you have full control over the camera, which is a must in a game like this. Sadly, the graphics don't look as strong as they should. Given this was developed by High Voltage Software, this was probably on a budget. But even then, the game tends to border on looking very late PS1 at worst, early PS2 at best. Models especially border on this. Environments are a bit dull with what looks like a bit more aliasing than anti-aliasing, and the game lacks in this regard given how amazing the movie looks. Okay, that might be a bit of a stretch, but when you compare it to other PS2 games that came out the same year, like Virtua Fighter 4, Onimusha 2, Kingdom Hearts, and Tekken 4 amongst others, I was hoping for something just a little bit better. Also, on another note, this is one of the few PS2 games that run at 240p, so if you're playing over a component, your TV better support 240p over a component, or have an upscale tool like the RetroTink ready. Trust me, I didn't realize until I started playing. Sound makes up in this regard despite some compression on the effects. Music sounds good, even if a bit on the generic side. A couple songs you might get stuck in your head, or they may remind you of something else. Voice acting is also good in this game. Chris Sanders, David Ogden Stiers, and Kevin Michael Richardson reprise their roles as Stitch, Jumba, and Gantu from the film, and they do a good job. With all the collectibles, there's a decent amount of replayability after getting through the final boss to pick up missed collectibles, but once you 100% the game, that's it. Disney Stitch Experiment 626 is a decent platformer that, while it does share some similarities to Ratchet & Clank, it does have some nice things to separate it, such as more gadgets and more platforming stuff. It also controls well, has good sound design, and a bit of replayability. However, the game doesn't look as good as it should, the collectathon nature can be a pain at times, and there isn't that much variety to the gameplay. If you're a Lilo and Stitch fan, you'll get more mileage out of this game. If you like platformers in general, I would say get to this once you've exhausted all other options. Or start here if you're looking to get into them, because it's all uphill from here, I assure you. I would put this higher up over the first Tack game, but not above the main top platformers. Still, this is a decent outing that won't take too long to get through. I give Disney Stitch Experiment 626 a 3 out of 5. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, click the big red button below to subscribe. Check out the other links in the description for more cool stuff, and check out the playlist on screen for more content. See you in the next video.